Welcome, Maria. Hello.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you very much for sharing this morning with us.
My pleasure, totally.
So, Maria, you work for the High Commissioner for Spain Startup Nation.
Yes.
What does that mean? What's your work?
What do we do? The High Commissioner it's a very small office. Actually, we most of the times joke that it's kind of a startup inside La Moncloa, which is the head of the government here in Spain. And what we do is, first of all, try to look up and take a long-term view of what needs to happen in Spain in order for the country to make sure that we make the best out of the entrepreneurship economy. What does that mean? It means that we are seeing how basically around the world countries that are focusing on making the best of the opportunities that the entrepreneurial ecosystem presents. They are growing faster. They are renewing their company's fabric, basically. And that means that those economies are making sure that in the future, they will be more resilient, they will have jobs, they will create wealth. And we believe that as a country, Spain cannot afford to lose that opportunity. That is a train that definitely we need to be ready to take and to board. And the strategy that we develop at the High Commissioner's Office, the strategy for Spain Entrepreneurial Nation, it's basically that. It's a vision of what needs to happen transversally in Spain in order to make sure that we tackle that opportunity.
Wow. It's amazing because we need for sure to have a long-term view, no?
Definitely, yeah.
So can you put some examples of the kind of things that you do?
For sure. So basically what we did is, I know that you know us, the whole team, but I will give you a quick overview.
Exactly. Share the story with everyone.
So we are a team of 8 people in La Moncloa.
An amazing team.
Thank you. The weird thing is that none of us is a politician. All of us come from the ecosystem. I think that aggregated, we have almost 40 years of experience working with the startups, the scale-ups, in different type of organizations. So even some of us have been entrepreneurs, like my boss and I, we separately, but we have been part of startups, and we've tackled that part of or at least tried to explore what does it mean to actually be an entrepreneur. So that means that when we decided to create this, and when we started writing and thinking about the strategy, all of us came with a very clear vision of what the sufferings and the pains of being an entrepreneur are. And we realized that some of those, now that we're talking about open innovation, had to do with connecting agents that normally don't get that much face time with each other. For example, of course, everybody thinks about the large corporations and the startups, but that's something that even our ecosystem, which is not that old, has already several structures, and we could say that it's already working in that direction. But for us, we thought, okay, who's not talking to whom? No? Who needs to be in touch? For example, public administration and startups. That's something that, at least in Spain, it's still very rare. One of the things that we are promoting very heavily is that startups and scale-ups need to have a public relations department, someone in their teams that is used and that knows how to talk to the public administration and build that type of relations. Actually, this is something that it's more of our anecdote, but several entrepreneurs that told us at the very beginning, we don't have the money to afford this type of position, it's very early for us. A year or a year and a half later, they hired that person, and they started seeing the value of actually having someone whose full-time job is to represent their interest in the public administration.
Oh, wow.
So, and we understand that that's not normal. That's not normal. Why? Because everybody has learned about entrepreneurship playing by the US book. What does that mean? In the US, the government and the public administration is not a key agent or a key relevant part of the ecosystem. Most people actually start up or even innovate on the sides of the public administration. But here in Spain, we think that there is how our system works, there is definitely an opportunity for a close collaboration between startups, scale-ups, and of course, the public administration. So that's what we are trying to do. It's not open innovation, it's open government, so to speak. and
Wow.
remove barriers. Yeah.
Exactly. It's part of the spirit is to create connections where
Exactly.
there weren't,
Exactly.
no? And let value flow over that.
Exactly.
I believe it's a little bit of open
Oh my God,
innovation
it's,
still.
it's kind of exactly, but it's an open
It's a
innovation
different
from
way.
the other side of the.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a new way to address it, and I think that the complexity that we are living in is asking for us to find the new ways to relate. no?
Definitely.
At the end, we are living all these complex issues, these grand challenges that we are facing as countries, as people, as citizens, as workers, and finding these new ways to collaborate is the key,
Yeah.
you know? So how do you envision this also, this complexity, which is our topic today?
Well, I think that we need to understand that complexity is not something that we are going to figure out at any moment. We just need to assume and
Surf?
accept, kind of, exactly, like accept that it's going to be part of how we work and where we work and how we interact with other corporations and other agents. It's part of life, complexity. And I think that it's of course, it's always the chimera, no? Trying to decode complexity and then
Embrace.
exactly have an in-way into opportunity. But I think that the opportunities really today are in accepting that complexity and trying to work around it. Because those are where people don't go or don't feel that comfortable going, right?
Of course.
Where things are tough.
We need to learn to surf.
Exactly.
We are almost ready to close. Any idea, call to action? What you want to share with our audience?
For me, in these 2 years that we've been working at the High Commissioner,
2 years already.
2 years already,
Wow.
almost 2 years and a half. It's
Wow.
a month short of 2 years and a
Wow.
half. For me, it's take into consideration absolutely every agent that has something to do with your company. And if the government or the public administration is one of them, go talk to them, be familiar, know who the people that can pull the strings in your business or in the regulation that affects your business, who those people are, and at least give them a call, send them an email, explain what you're doing for them to have you in the radar. So think about what the public administration can do for you.
Wow, that's interesting because one other concept that Christian and I have been talking a lot and with all the Area 101 team is that we need to orchestrate connections, no? And also
Definitely.
within organizations, we want to orchestrate and of course think of the government as
Another player.
Another player.
Exactly.
Maria, it's always refreshing talking to you. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Maria.